Daily Soccer Podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to a late night recording of the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. Today I am joined by my illustrious co-host, Greg Elliott. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. A bit tired. It's been a busy weekend. Just
Feel that.
no real football to distract me. There's no F1 to distract me. My American football team don't kick off until a time where I'm definitely going to be in bed. So
does it mean that, like me, everything else in your weekend has now been filled up because of the fact there's no football, which has ended up meaning I have a significantly busier schedule than I'd ever like?
Very much
like
so,
the same
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, and then throw a car into the mix, and that makes life completely full. You know, what more can you ask for?
There you go. So I am your host, Zach and Finch. You're probably aware of that if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time. And the reason I'm hosting today is that I wanted to talk a little bit about the thing that Greg hates, which is international football. However, we will start off with a bit of Saints news. We chat back and forth every day, as we always do. But part of that was, I can't remember how it came up in conversation, but we were looking to potentially do an episode on who our future manager would be. And that's what we did the last two manager races. But the problem with this one is that, like, the names are really like, okay, so Brendan Rodgers because he's out of work, Russell Martin because he's out of work. For some reason, Gary O'Neill still, despite the fact that we made sure. And then I was trying to find the odds, and it's really weird because it was only like sort of 3 or 4 days ago, but I didn't really think much of it. So I kind of said, well, we're not going to do that. We'll do something else today. And then later on, like, you text me, because I didn't tell you that they were like 3-day-old odds, but then you were like, yeah, I've just checked. I don't think you can put a bet on that at the moment.
Yeah, I was just idly perusing various betting apps, as I tend to do in my free time, it's fair to say. And yeah, I thought it was odd. I was like, oh, well, that's weird. It's not on any of the normal sites to go on. Let's go on Odds Checker. And it's like, Odds Checker, next Southampton manager, click the link. It's like, yep, next Newport manager. I'm like, first of all, who's betting on that?
The same thing. It's weird, right? Because I'm like, well, where is it? Because why would you have that link and then you go into it and then it's just telling me that the next potential Swansea manager is Russell Martin? I'm like, it's great. That's not what I asked for, though, is it?
So it implies that either the bookies are sick of taking bets on it because they don't think there's any end in sight, which seems unlikely because that's like, such a with a peculiar market like that.
You could still put money on like the next Bond, right? Hasn't that been a thing since even when Daniel Craig was still Bond? Yeah. So I find it hard to believe that a betting company would check notes not to take bets.
And it's funny because I was looking at the odds of that because I started off, Zach, looking at the James Bond next actor odds to draw comparisons in price for funny letdowns. That is how it started.
Sometimes we're almost too in sync, mate, and I don't know what that says about us, but hey ho.
I mean, look, I think that the one that jumped out at me was like 33-1 for Jonathan Bailey. So for all you Wicked fans out there, maybe
it's like a niche reference probably about 5 people are going to get, but I appreciate it either way, mate. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird bit of news, and we don't know what everyone else thinks of that. So I thought it might just be worth mentioning, because obviously there was that little bit of reveal last week where TalkSport were like, Tonda Eckhart's been decided. Wait, no, he's not. Don't click this link. This link doesn't work. We never did this. And we've already talked about that. So yeah, just keep an eye.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? Because obviously, like, insider information in gambling would be really bad and really frowned upon, and yet the bookies always know first.
There you go. So that was the one of the Saints things we want to talk about. The other was that I don't know if there's any rumor, like the rumor mill's real spinning about James Ward-Prowse, right? And I don't know if that's just because apparently, like, I think it came out in the media that they're looking to move him on. It shouldn't be any surprise. Nuno's not exactly a fan. He worked for him under Forest, and obviously him now being at West Ham doesn't seem to be going great for Mr. Ward-Prowse. And there's talk of him potentially moving to Everton. And I don't know if that. I could, but also, like, aren't they going to be pretty packed out in that central track and midfield area at this point? Just a bunch of ex-Southampton players, and also for some reason Jack Grealish. Fine, whatever. Like, I don't see why they would do that when they spent that much money on Dibbling and didn't really, That's not really one of the only position he plays.
I mean, Diblin's more of an attacking wide player, I guess.
Yeah, he's more
or a number 10, whereas Prowse is more of I guess you'd call it a 6 in modern footballing tactics, or a CDM, or he's
for sure
more of a ball player than a forward attacking player.
I just don't know. I guess my real thing is that I don't know enough about Everton to know if that's a position they need to fill. But obviously, the other rumor alongside that is the fact that he's potentially coming back to us. And I would. It seems to be we're real on the nostalgia bait, right? Like Romeo is a player that we'd all have brought back without a heartbeat because of the fact that we needed him when he left, let alone now where we've got the Shea Charles injury. But
it's a hard one, right? It's a really difficult one.
Because it's hard.
It's tricky, right? Because let's face it, we'd take him back in a heartbeat because he was such a wonderful servant and ambassador to the club. And, it's always going to be, as soon as he falls out of favour anywhere, it was always going to be rumours that we were going to bring him back because, in recent years, no player more deserves a bring him home special happy ending than him, right? Like he carried a struggling team through a lot as captain, and nobody had hard feelings, I think, when he left. Does he actually want to come back to us in the position we're in at the moment?
This is always the thing, right? It seems that we always seem to think that he would want to come back immediately, despite the fact that he never stayed. And I don't really begrudge him for going. I feel like it was pretty much sometimes some of his goals were the things that single-handedly won us games, and those are really important. But he left and then didn't come back when we were in the Premier League and struggling. He could have come back on loan to us rather than Forest, and that didn't really work out for him. And it's like I know there's a bit more than to our relationship with Prowse than say like a Danny Ings, but like it is exactly the same thing to me, where we are constantly linked and then it never materializes. And by the sounds of it, we even went in for Danny Ings, right? So I don't know if we would go back in for Prowse or not.
But on the other hand, right, like he's 31 now, which is, it's not old, but for a footballer is getting there. I mean, he was always the most athletic professional player. I've no doubt that he is one of these players that will be comfortably able to play till like 40, 42. That's not the issue, but he in himself and in his career might be getting to a point where, he left because he wanted to push on and get to the England team. He might now be at a point where he's like, well, I got to West Ham and fallen out of favour with the manager, but maybe the next logical step is to come home and do it. I don't know either way. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
He was
I'm not in the camp. Right? I'm not in the camp where I'm gonna shout and holler and rave about it or expect it to happen. But I wouldn't be upset if it did happen, and I wouldn't be upset if it didn't either. Is kind of where I'm at.
I guess that's probably where I land on it as well. But if I remember rightly, he was brought into West Ham under David Moyes, who is now Everton manager. So I don't know if that link is just because his old previous manager that brought him in is at a different club, or there's something more to it than that, because he knows what he can bring specifically. But I just wonder if he would want to drop back down to the Championship. But then I could have said the same about Romeo. Like Romeo at one point was playing for Barcelona, and has come back to us.
We've said that what we're lacking is less on the pitch quality and more professionalism, leadership, experience, and he has that in droves. So I don't know. I don't know if he's the answer to any of our problems. I don't know if he would want to come back. I wouldn't. Like I say, I'm not going to sit here and vouch for it as the answer to all the problems. I wouldn't be upset either way, to be honest. It would be great to see him back in a Saints shirt, but more power to him if he doesn't and goes and tries it at Everton as well, or wherever.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we just thought we'd mention it because obviously it seems to have gained traction in the last few days specifically. But now the thing that you've all come for, which is obviously us talking about some of the stuff that's happened during the international break. Isn't that right, Greg?
Yeah.
After a word from our partners at Bionique.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
And we are back. So, Greg, I wanted to start off talking a little bit about the Republic of Ireland, because that's probably at this point the team that has the most of our internationals in it. Because between Ryan Manning, Finn Azaz, and Gavin Bazunu, not that Bazunu gets a chance to play, but that's kind of understandable considering Kelly's, form and who he is in comparison to Bazunu, the goalkeeper. So, Republic of Ireland won on Thursday last week, Greg. They beat Portugal 2-0 in quite a fiery game with a double from Troy Parrott. And in the build-up to the game, the manager of Ireland had spoken about how they shouldn't let Ronaldo get in their head, right? And this was all to do with Ronaldo winning a penalty, I think, against them last time. He missed it, but it was more to do with the fact that, the refs should stop just giving him whatever he wants every time. And obviously, he seemed to have taken that to heart. So after the Republic of Ireland went 2-0 up in the first half, second half rolls around, 61 minutes in, Cristiano Ronaldo gives a little sort of elbow, lashes out a little bit. He's given a yellow, goes to VAR, comes back, gives him a straight red for, I think it's like the first time in his Portugal career he's ever had a red card. So yeah, he's sent off, and then he goes out and walks off after applauding and trying to basically play the panto villain to the crowd. And then I think has a little word with the Ireland manager, being like, "Oh yeah, maybe they were listening to you instead of me, and this, that, and the other." And it's just kind of like, mate, you try just not elbowing somebody.
Yeah,
I feel like that's why. VAR looked at it, went, he's elbowed that guy pretty bad. The yellow is probably the wrong decision. But either way, that was obviously the focus of the drama, as opposed to Ireland beating Portugal 2-0, which is significantly, a really good victory for them. And in that game, we didn't see Ryan Manning feature, but we did see Finn Azaz, who picked up a yellow card in the 38th minute, and then eventually came off and was substituted in the 79th. But that was good. And then I wanted to briefly mention that Portugal's response to this, after having Cristiano Ronaldo banned from the game, potentially if they get through, I think he might even miss some World Cup games.
I believe actually because of that suspension, because it's for a straight red, it's a 3-match ban. That means that it was his last ever World Cup qualifier.
Man, so there you go. And obviously, he's annoyed about it. Again, it's his actions that brought him that red card. No one else is. Just throwing it out there. But what it showed you is a squad that everybody thought would panic without Cristiano Ronaldo has beaten Armenia 9-1. Now, Armenia have done all right, and what could have been a Saints talisman in Spurtian once again scored for Armenia. And I just like to point that out on occasion, because he always seems to do. Again, it's the only reason I now know Armenia is an international footballing team is basically because of that Armenian guy on Twitter who banged on about Spurtian so much.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that maybe they don't need Ronaldo if they could beat a team 9-1. But also, my favourite thing is when I sent this to Greg, Greg's response was, "More reason to not have international football. What's the point?"
Yeah.
which is fair. But obviously, the other big news isn't about Portugal. It's about the team that we have the most players in, which is the Republic of Ireland, who have now successfully managed to make the World Cup playoffs. And this is after beating Hungary 3-2 with a Troy Parrott hat-trick. So after scoring 2 on the bounce and then a hat-trick in this game, there has literally been talk, a buzz on social media. Somebody, a Liverpool fan page that, by the sounds of it, from what other Liverpool fans have said in the comments, isn't a very one that has a lot of popular takes. I can let you fill in the blanks as to what they said. But he's like, yeah, sign him up. And a lot of people responding with, you have Isak and Ekitike and you, after one international break, want to get Troy Parrott. Other people being like, well, yeah, he's absolutely killing it in the Netherlands. And you're like, that's not the same as being a striker for Liverpool. Sorry. Either way, it's been highly amusing. But the important thing for us is obviously Finn Azaz got an assist in the 80th minute, which is really, really good. Ryan Manning also got some minutes. He came on the 46th minute. You can see them all in the celebrations, which is really, really good news. But the reason this is so important, the reason I wanted to raise it, Greg, was obviously we have won 2 on the bounce. They've gone away with their internationals. They've won 2 on the bounce. As far as Azaz and Manning, as far as Azaz and Manning and Bazunu are going, they've won 4 games in a row, which is important. Like, hopefully it means that they can come back and carry that with them, because that means that Azaz is now, assisted, scored, assisted again. And Manning is now, after being sort of out in the cold a little bit, is now sort of coming back into the fold a little bit. And Bazunu was also there, which is always good.
Always good. Zach, I've got a question for you, and I don't know if you're going to know the answer. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Good.
As someone who doesn't particularly follow international football at this stage, what on earth is a World Cup playoff?
Well, I think it's the way that the groups work now. So
not just another qualifier.
Pretty much, right? So obviously, automatically qualifies are the people at the top of the group. The people at the bottom 3 and 4, those people I think don't get a chance at all. And then whoever was in second position then go into essentially a playoff, right, to then go up. And this is all to do with the way that they've changed the World Cup to having like 1,000,000,001 teams at this point. So it's significantly easier, right? You don't need to top the group to necessarily qualify.
I as well as asking you, because I didn't know if you know the answer, I just Googled it. But so yeah, 16 teams now go into a draw for 4 sets of 4.
Yeah, so do you know some of those teams
it's like
now?
Semi-finals and a final.
Yeah, no, you've got Czech Republic, Albania, North Macedonia, Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Poland, Republic of Ireland now, Turkey, Ukraine, Scotland, Kosovo, and Slovakia, right? And I think there might potentially other international games that might shift that around, but that's where the scores and the doors are currently. But yeah, it's almost as if massively increasing the size of the World Cup kind of makes it pointless really having even qualifiers at this point, right? But let's not take it away from the Republic of Ireland. Like, they might make it to a World Cup.
Fair play to them. They are 2 wins away from a World Cup. They qualified to go and qualify for the World Cup, and that is sure a thing that can happen in football these days.
But obviously, that's the kind of main headlines. Is essentially our B team at this point internationally is now the Republic of Ireland, whether we like it or not. No longer do we get Che McAdams, and the England under-21s are no longer dominated by young Southampton players. In fact, Jay Robinson pulled out the under-19s due to injury. And the under-21 England's did have Dibbling and Ameyu, but he's no longer here. Neither of them are here. So it's kind of, I am once again feeding into that nostalgia bait by letting you know about former Southampton players. And I'll let you know about one current Southampton player, Greg, one former Southampton player, and then another current Southampton player after this short break from Zencastr.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner, with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr.
And we are back for the final part of today's episode. So, Greg, I promised you that you would hear about more current players than ex-players at this point. So, current player, technically, he is on loan. And he is on loan to Derby County. And we have not exactly been big fans of Mr. Ben Brereton Diaz, but he did score a bit of a worldie for Derby. Derby are currently doing better than us, so he's in a better team than us, kind of. At the moment, I would... I said that specifically because I wanted to see what your visual reaction will be. If none of you are watching this on YouTube, it was abject horror is the only way to describe it. Probably with a little bit of sneering imperialism, where Greg was just sort of disgusted at the fact that I would even suggest that Derby County are a better football team than us. So no, I don't believe that. But either way, Ben Brereton Diaz managed to score a goal for his Chile team against the Football Union of Russia in an international friendly, which is baffling because we didn't know he was capable of doing that. But he's now done that for both club and country before he ever even managed, I think, an assist for us. So fair play to the guy. If it gives him some confidence and he goes on to be a better footballer and maybe one day comes back to us, but probably not, So again, Greg, that's a current kind of footballer, right?
Yeah, look, I think I think I said plenty that there's clearly a footballer inside Ben Brereton Diaz somewhere, or we would not anywhere close to getting that from him when he was with us.
Just never managed to play for Southampton. So if it manages to play on elsewhere, good for him.
Yeah, but good for him.
So that was Chile, and obviously you'll notice that we haven't really spoken about the England game, mainly because we don't have any players that play for England anymore. But one of the things I did want to point out, which really does suck, is obviously they played Albania. Armando Broja was stretchered off again, having what seems to be another quite serious injury, which I want to say is like the second or third of his career now. So obviously signed permanently to Burnley after having, I can't remember where. I think he was at Everton when he picked up that last quite serious injury that kind of threw him off, and then had a bit of a rough time at Fulham. But obviously, probably by the looks of it, looks to be a similar injury to what he's had previously. But he was covering his face and everything, and had to be stretchered off. It just really sucks.
Oh, it's not good. It's not what you want to hear. It sucks that a player with such, he came when he was with us, had such high promise and such potential. To have such a career hampered by injuries,
it's awful, and it's one of the things that unfortunately we would consistently see, and it will be just part of the sport forever. It's not just this sport either. But he was a genuine fan favorite when he was here, up until I think that he realised that he could probably move elsewhere, and then that never quite worked out. But so get well soon, and fair play to England for managing this 100% record at this point. So it's definitely not a thing we expected, I think, initially. If you go by the way that the media treats Tuchel and the way that a vast majority of fans do, and the way that Tuchel treats Tuchel, you would think we're terrible. But we've actually done all right in all of the the proper games. Not that I've managed to watch this, but
mate, I don't remember the last time we lost a World Cup qualifier. It's just further adds to the point of what is the point.
All I can think of the games that were the worst that we ever lost was that game against Iceland, because after that, for a long time, my wife would always ask me how Iceland are doing, because that basically put them on the map for her in the sense of that's nice of them. They've got part-time jobs as electricians and beat Wayne Rooney, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then another current Saints player, Greg, to finish out the episode in another game that I would think you would describe as unimportant, but also important for the fitness and again, winning mentality of our players, is that Germany under-21s beat Malta under-21 6-0 in a game that Joshua Kwashi played all of. And, that's good, because he missed out on the last one. An injury has been more influential in our squad up until I think he picked up that injury and hasn't been able to work his way back in. I don't think he's going to displace any of the current back three overnight, but it's nice to know that, again, he's gone away on an international break to be surrounded by winning, which is always
clean sheet as well.
Yeah, there you go. Even if it is against Malta. So,
yeah,
it's what it is. But that wraps up, I think, the international games that matter. From a selfish perspective, I'll probably mention that Sugawara played for Japan in their friendly. So I guess that move out of our club really worked for him. But I'm relatively sure Japan also have some players that have been playing in the championship in their squad. So who knows what that's about. And no sign of Matsuki if he's ever going to play for us again. But again, that's just a little selfish thing towards the end that I wanted to put in there. But that's how we've done internationally so far. There'll probably be potentially some more news. Obviously, we don't get to talk about Northern Ireland because Shay Charles is out. So I don't know if there's going to be anything else international-wise, Greg, but we've got a little bit of Saints news just to cushion the international news. And then I tried to make the international news for you, Greg, be as Saints-centric as possible.
Yeah, I appreciated that because, man, it does not capture my interest otherwise.
It really, like, until you get to tournament football, you are just a man that does not care. It's different because when it's tournament, you all of a sudden overnight we're talking about it non-stop, and you're going like, "This is how they should set up." But right up until that point, like, it does feel like the international break
Kazakhstan versus Greece at 10 o'clock in the morning every day of the week when it means something in a tournament. Like,
yeah, it's great because I still remember us talking about like what, you know, like all of a sudden the Olympics or like or the World Cup or the Euros would end, and you're like, well, what do we do with our lives now? What am I meant to watch? Why can't I want to watch Kazakhstan? You know, I want to watch Kazakhstan versus Ukraine at 3 in the morning, and then I want to switch over to another TV show when the Olympics are on, and then also watch someone do like international breakdancing at 4 a.m. Like that is the level of chaos I want in my life.
But then it's different, right? Because part of what gets me so hyped and excited about that is not just the football that's taking place; it's the collective group of fans getting behind their teams, right? Like the heroes that we like to talk about from Euros and World Cups gone past are like the Moroccos with their like insane fan base that came out of nowhere, and that like have these insane atmospheres, and you know have all of these fans present, and you know like Japan going and cleaning up behind themselves. Like it's the atmospheres around it, whereas you don't get that when you pause the football season and, you know, checks notes, flies people to random countries around, flies Armenia to England. Like,
you're right. Whatever. There are situations that, like, you know, and not only just like the cult fan bases, right? It's things like I still remember Robson Kanu, who you'll know as being adjacent to the Baggies, just because of that time that he like played for Wales, scored a couple of goals, and then got signed by West Brom off the back of it when he was a free agent. Yeah. He was a free agent, but managed to score like some pretty decent goals during the Euros, and then off the back of that got signed up to like a championship club.
I think he scored against us for the Baggies once.
Yeah, that checks out. But either way, that checks out because when he played for the Baggies, mate, over his entire career, he only scored 6 goals, and one of them would definitely be against us because, again, we love to give a player that's not scored a goal in forever a goal. But like, I still genuinely remember
2017, how Robson Kanu's spectacular first goal for West Brom gave them victory at Southampton as they won 2-1 at St Mary's. Shane Long ended a run of 23 games without a goal to put Cloud Puel's side in front shortly before the break.
Oh man, you can't write it. Reality sometimes with our club is better than fiction.
I vividly remember that game, and it is because I had lost a bet to my late father-in-law, and that is the only game of football I have sat and watched at St Mary's from the away end. So there you go.
Putting yourself in trouble there, mate. But anywho, that is about all we've got time for today. So yeah, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of Saints news, but I've had to pad out all of the international news so I can keep Greg's attention. And luckily there is no NFL on, because 100%, if not, he'd have been sat watching the Eagles, ignoring most of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Would have really blamed him. But we really hope that you enjoyed yourself. We hope you enjoyed the late night chaotic energy that only usually comes to you on a Tuesday night. And we'll be back tomorrow with, I'm sure, something football related.
Something slightly more structured, I'm sure.
Hopefully something more structured. Hopefully, it's because I've put the structure together and I'm not good at that. Hopefully something a bit more Saints related as well. Yeah. Good luck naming the episode, Greg. Thank you all for joining us. We're on the socials on Facebook, Twitter /X, the Everything app, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, anything that's potentially a social media, we're probably on it. If you want to watch us use a lot of hand motions whenever I say things like that, because I talk with my hands, we're also on YouTube. Check us out. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful morning. And we will see you in the next one.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.